someone messing with my IP address? Because someone messing with my IP address? What the heck is going on? Well, whatever. That actually, I think my watching this creepy pasta stuff is causing my computer to get possessed.
The full story of Chris 64 goes very deep, as it's one of the newest video game RPGs to take the internet by storm. There's certainly too much for me to cover in this section, so I'll be returning to this topic at a later date.
Okay. So we're gonna have to. Oh, ploy. So Crow 64. We're gonna have to.
Polybius was an arcade game that existed sometime in the 1980s. It was only available in a few arcades in Portland, Oregon in 1981. The arcade machine was very popular with arcade goers, so much so that lines would form behind any machines. Polybius was created by a company called Sinoslotion. It was the only game that they would make. The game was so popular that it was borderline addicting for players. Even in 1981, the arcade machine seemed to be the one everyone wanted to play. There was some mystery behind the machine. The Polybius cabinets would receive weekly visits from men in black suits, likely extracting some sort of data from the machine. It was unknown what information they were pulling exactly. It was noted by many who played the cabinet that they would sometimes come away with headaches, minor forms of amnesia, night terrors, and hallucinations.
Oh, my back.
These are a few of the psychoactive effects players reported. The game itself was said to play similarly to another arcade game, Tempest. The addictive properties of the game seem to have come from something other than the gameplay. It was believed that Polybius was being used for running some sort of government experiment on the people in Portland, Oregon. The game was testing psychoactive effects on the arcade goers in the area, and then information was being collected by the men in black suits for some unknown purpose. The purpose was thought to be similar to Project MK Ultra, an experiment that tested the use of psychedelic drugs as a form of mind control, psychological torture, and interrogation tool. This was backed entirely by the CIA. Polybius was causing psychological damage to its players and was often compared to the project, though no actual connection has ever been established. The data being collected was also never released to the public. The arcade cabinet was gone a month later, seeming to vanish into thin air. The arcade owners had no records of the game, and many don't remember it even existing at all. The elusive Polybius was gone. There are many rumors about Polybius, but most of them are just that, rumors.
Where am I? How did I?
Sorry. I know this isn't the farewell party you were hoping for.
Dang, she fine.
You? What are you doing here?
Mind.
Still got like 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long. Mr. Mix.
In the early 1990s, typing
Who the?
there was a lesser-known typing game called Mr. Mix, which was released around the same time as Mario teaches typing. It starred a character named Mr. Mix who would mix ingredients and pull as you
If this game was on their shelf next to Mario teaches typing, I'm taking Mario teaches typing.
The game was very similar to Mario teaches typing, which might be why it was lesser known. Another reason the game was lesser known is that it was a very hard typing game. The difficulty started out pretty low at level 1, but by level 5 the requirement became 500 words per minute.
Dang!
Impossible to beat. The game was notable for having some strange background music as well. It started with low growls in the first level that would progressively get louder as the level went on. Eventually the music would get so loud that it caused permanent damage to the early computer speakers. The second level notably didn't
Don't
have
worry,
music,
computer. I
while
won't
the
do
third had
that
what
to you.
sounded like a low-quality recording of a hairdryer in the background. The third and fourth levels would just play a loud, high-pitched ringing sound that would persist throughout the level. Some people even reported ear pain from the ringing sound. The design of Mr. Mix was also considered to be creepy. He was a round-faced man with beady eyes and very red cheeks. He would stare at the player as they continued to type away. Most of the children who played the game would have horrible nightmares about Mr. Mix. He would talk to them in their
Pepper
dreams
Pig.
with a
Whoa.
quiet voice. Mr. Mix would tell them to keep quiet about something, but it wasn't anything they could remember.
Mr. Mix, what did you want the children to keep quiet about?
The game had terrified them to the extent that they needed to see a psychologist. The psychologist had noted that the kids had been deeply disturbed, but no connection was ever made with the game. The game didn't sell very well for a few reasons, and almost fell entirely into obscurity. That was until a ROM of the game was discovered, with hackers immediately trying to dig through the game's files. Everything seemed fine until the hackers used a memory hack to bypass the 5th level of the game. Whenever they would bypass the 5th level, the game would crash, writing a bunch of files to the home drive of their PC. The files contained pictures of people with horribly deformed faces. They appeared to be screaming in pain and agony. Their eyes had streams of blood coming from them, and their outer layer of skin was torn off in a few places. Attempting to delete these files would cause your computer to blue screen, possibly breaking it.
Nah, I ain't
Hackers
downloading
did
this
find a
game.
way around this issue and were able to finally get to the last 2 levels.
The Misfortune game?
Unfortunately, all decided
Yeah.
they couldn't talk about it and refused
The other
to answer
game?
any questions
Yeah.
about the game when
This
asked.
game? Nah.
Within a month, every single hacker had gone missing. 2 years later, a man was arrested for trying to abduct a child from a supermarket.
What the
It
f-
was discovered that this man was one of the original hackers of the game. When interrogators tried to ask him any question, the only thing he would say was, "I'm Mr. Mix."